Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for the sick, handicapped, the part of our community, as well as members of the armed forces. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Henderson?
Here.
Mr. Petroselli?
Here.
Mr. Gallarducci?
Here.
Mr. Colosimo?
Here.
Mr. Verducci?
Here.
Mrs. Schneider?
Here.
Mr. Chashovsky?
Here.
Mayor Copeland?
Here.
Solicitor McDermott?
Here.
Engineer Brett?
Here.
I'm Joe Coward. Chief King?
Here.
Assistant Chief Maglin?
Here.
And Director Miller.
Thank you. That was probably the most resounding Pledge of Allegiance we've had in a year and a half. So we greatly appreciate your presence, and obviously it is for something very important, near and dear to us. I won't belabor it. I'll turn this over to Mr. Jim Nowak.
I would like
Yes, please.
Good evening, members of Ridgeville Borough Council, Mayor Betty Copeland, and appointed officials of Ridgeville Borough, staff, members of the general public of Ridgeville Borough. It gives me great pleasure to be here and to present the Mayor of the Year Award. I'm the mayor of Whitehall Borough and also president of the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association, a position that I have proudly held for the last 15 years. And I hope that means I'm doing something good for mayors across the state of Pennsylvania. With me today is Mayor Keith Moss from Duryea Borough in Lucerne County. And if you don't know where Lucerne County is, it's all the way on the other end of the state, next to, does it border New Jersey? Does it border New Jersey?
No.
Close.
Duryea is right in between Wilkes-Barre and Scranton.
Okay, well, but anyway. So he is here. He's the, on our executive board, he's also chairman of the Mayor of the Year Committee. Also, we have two members of the executive board, one of whom is on the Mayor of the Year Committee. That's Mayor Ina G. Martin. She is here from White Oak Borough. And Mayor Dennis O'Keefe came down from Franklin Borough to support Mayor Copeland. I saw Ken Lasota, who is the 2020 Mayor of the Year, and so he's supporting his fellow Mayor of the Years. And are there any other mayors that I missed or coming in that you want to identify yourself? Okay. Pennsylvania State Mayors Association is the largest association of mayors in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We are comprised of boroughs, cities, and home rule townships. So we even have one mayor on our board from a home rule township. It happens to be Whitehall Township, which is in Lehigh County. We are not affiliated with any municipal association. As I like to say it, we are an association of mayors, by mayors, and for mayors, and we provide a variety of services. We are the only association that has a conference for mayors. We provide education at that conference, also newsletters, magazine articles. We provide legal services, and there's a great relationship between the mayor and the council because I haven't remember writing any letters for any Bridgeville mayors. We also do lobbying, on behalf of mayors. So, in addition to that, we have an award. It's the Mayor of the Year Award. It goes to an outstanding mayor. And we invite all of our member municipalities to nominate their mayor. We maintain the applications for at least 3 years because the nominators are passionate about that their mayor is the most outstanding mayor. We try to be very objective about this, so there are 6 regions in Pennsylvania, that the Department of Community and Economic Development has, designated. We adopted that, so we have a representative from each of those regions. We have at least one city mayor, various borough mayors, some who are officers of our association, some who are just members of our executive board, and one person who is not affiliated with the board at all. So we try to have a diverse group that will make the best decision. And I know that they really work hard in terms of trying to, don't they, Ina? And Keith, he can talk to you a little bit about the process. So, to me, this is the most prestigious award that a mayor can receive. If anybody knows, what it means to be a mayor, what it means to be, any profession, it's always the people of the profession that really have that idea. So when they pick a person to be their representative, that's a very, very important honor. So I'm going to now turn this over to Keith Moss to talk to you about this year's award.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Bridgeville Council, Mayor. It's an honor to be here. I'm sorry I wasn't here for last year for the Mayor of the Year because of all the COVID going around and everything. But how the Mayor of the Year committee works. I'm the chairman of the Mayor of the Year committee. And this year we had 13 applicants. And out of the 13 applicants, we had a Zoom meeting and I asked them to narrow it down to 3. On my committee, Mayor Ina, Mayor Jim Sanders, Mayor Joan Granahan, Mayor Cashman, Mayor Scott Funk, and myself is on the committee. And we have a Zoom meeting. We usually have a telephone conference. And this year we had a Zoom meeting. So it narrows down to the 3 top mayors that we'd like to present with Mayor of the Year. And I got to tell you, it was just a standout for Mayor Betty here. It was unbelievable. The members of the committee and the nominator that nominated her, and I'm just going to go through a little bit of her nomination here, that she was very surprised at the mayor's conference. And I left out, her name, and she was sitting there and going on and looking. And she was so surprised at the end, it was unbelievable. So to move on here, Bridgeville loves Betty. This campaign slogan provided so true in 2017 when she defeated a primary election opponent as well as a general election opponent to be elected the first woman of mayor of Bridgeville. Mayor Copeland has also the distinction of being the first African-American mayor in the history of Bridgeville when she was sworn in on January 2nd of 2018. Betty Copeland is a well-respected, much admired pillar of our community. She works as a team with the Borough Council and staff. She is an encourager, and she is looked up to by the chief and the members of the Bridgeville Police Department, which she oversees. Mayor Copeland has brought kindness and cooperation to our community. She is a willing volunteer wherever she can be of help. She greets and welcomes new residents and businesses with open arms. Lately, she has participated in many drive-by parades with the police and the fire departments, recognizing children's birthdays and milestones of our residents during this coronavirus pandemic quarantine. Mayor Copeland has centered her volunteer life on the theme of servant leader. She remains dedicated to the creation of Martin Luther King Jr.'s concept of the beloved community. In addition to her mayoral duties, Mayor Copeland focuses on encouraging others to give back to our community by becoming involved in volunteers whenever and wherever possible. She is a true leader who leads by example. She has enjoyed serving the community as mayor and being a role model for other women, African Americans, and senior citizens who want to become involved in politics. Mayor Copeland was 83 years young when she was elected, proving you're never too old to be involved to spread kindness and encourage volunteerism. At this time, I'd like to present to Betty. This is on behalf of the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association, Mayor of the Year 2021 for the distinguished and mentorous service and community leadership presented to Mayor Betty L. Copeland, Borough of Bridgeville, at the annual conference of the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association, July 17, 2021. Congratulations. Thank you.
Mayor, we have a couple more things going on. If you have any words, you want to wait for them, or you? Okay, next on the list, we have our state representative, Jason Martika.
It's very hard to follow that act. But I've been very fortunate over the last few years to get to know Mayor Copeland and see you around in the neighborhood. We exchanged a lot of messages on Facebook, keeping me up to date on what's going on, and you're never shy to let me know the latest in Bridgeville. So I'm really appreciative of that. And before I forget, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Mayor Lasota. I'm fortunate I get back-to-back mayors, Mayor of the Years here. So I feel I'm going to make some T-shirts, and maybe we can, raffle off a good cause or something. But Mayor Copeland, you are Bridgeville personified. You're a great role model for everyone in the community, and we're very lucky to have you. So I want to present to you with a house citation in honor of your Mayor of the Year award.
And Senator Devlin Robinson.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mayor Copeland, I've known you for a long time through the Bridgeville Rotary. I've known you as mayor, and then I was able to pick your brain whenever I was elected to this position to see how I could help the borough of Bridgeville as best I could. And you've always been a straight shooter. You were always willing to help. You were always there. You answered all my messages, and I couldn't be prouder to be from Bridgeville. So I got this citation whenever I saw it on Facebook that you had been awarded Mayor of the Year. I wanted to come down and do something myself, and the Senate was like, no, you have to wait. We do this stuff. It'll come through our office. So I'm just going to read this paragraph. Whereas the Honorable Betty Copeland, Mayor of the Borough of Bridgeville, is being recognized as the 2021 Mayor of the Year by Pennsylvania State Mayors Association. The Mayor of the Year Award recognizes elected mayors for their significant impact on their communities. Elected Mayor of the Borough of Bridgeville in November 2017, Mayor Copeland is lauded as the first African American and first woman to hold the office. She is known for her unflagging volunteerism, ambassadorship, and connections to organizations and members of the Bridgeville community, which helped the borough to obtain the banner communities in the state of Pennsylvania recognition. Any definition of a full and productive life must include service to others. Through her many initiatives to benefit her community and by her personal example, Mayor Copeland clearly reflects the true spirit and mission of the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association. Thank you.
And to further pile on, we ourselves have something to say. I don't trust myself reading the small print over there. I'm going to do it right from here and then present it to her. This is a proclamation of the Borough Council of Bridgeville, Pennsylvania, recognizing Mayor Betty L. Copeland upon receiving the 2021 Mayor of the Year Award from the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association. Whereas Betty L. Copeland, a proud, humble, and strong leader, wife of Curtis Copeland Sr., mother of Curtis Jr., Lorraine, and Antoinette, and proud grandmother of Jude and Catherine, has unselfishly and devoutly dedicated her life to family, faith, and service. And whereas Betty and her family have given much of their time and talents to the many organizations that serve the greater Bridgeville community, including the Chamber of Commerce, Rotary Club, local hospitals, Bridgeville Area Historical Society, Friends of Bridgeville Public Library, and the First Baptist Church of Bridgeville. And whereas, following in the footsteps of her late husband, who honorably served on Borough Council and its many advisory boards, Betty has answered the calling to public service and was elected mayor of the Borough of Bridgeville, taking office January 2nd, 2018. And whereas her election was a significant achievement for our community, as she holds with great distinction as the first woman and African American elected as Bridgeville's mayor, an office where she has admirably and with integrity been a goodwill ambassador, advancing many successful initiatives to improve public safety in the borough. And whereas being a role model for all citizens of Bridgeville, Betty has earned a reputation of putting forth service above self and for her guidance of compassionate wisdom. And whereas making a significant positive impact on our community, Betty was nominated by her peers and was awarded the 2021 Mayor of the Year Award by the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the Bridgeville Borough Council that she is congratulated for earning this achievement, and let it be known that as a community, we are beyond proud of her, and directs that a copy of this proclamation be transmitted to Mayor Copeland, and the best wishes for continued success, good health, and happiness be bestowed upon her. Approved in testimony whereof, we, the undersigned and members of the Borough Council, present this to you. We had to outdo anything.
I'm so grateful to all of you for this special recognition. If not for being named the Mayor of the Year by Pennsylvania State Association, none of this would be happening. But I owe it all to these people because they're the ones that make me stand out and make me look good. I'm grateful for all that we are doing for our residents. And I pray that God blesses us all and gives us strength to carry on and do what we need to do to make Bridgeville the loving place that it is. Thank you to both our representatives for being here this evening, and for all of you for letting me know that I do matter, but you are the people that inspire me to do what I am doing. Thank you. God bless us all.
Well, unfortunately, we have to have a meeting after all this. Congratulations. Well deserved. Thank you.
having a BA night. I know most of you from the community. I just started with the Treasury, the BA this past year. Just real quick, this first year, thank you very much to the Parks community and everything. Everyone did a great job helping us stay up on our feet. COVID crushed us for a while, but being that everyone came back to the park this spring and summer and now in the fall, the only question I had, and I'll be brief, is just an update on the road and parking lot situation, and I'll sit down, if there is one. A lot of parents are asking feedback on that. That's all, I just wanted to do that and follow on, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Basically what's going on, I guess, towards the end of October, we're going to start on, they're putting a piece of playground equipment. And we're going to start with the creek stabilization. We're saving the paving until next spring. We're trying to work it in with our road paving program. That's going to get done also. It's just because I have more patience on that. We're working on it. We got to stabilize that quick.
Sure, I know you guys are. Just I had a few more parents asking me, and I wanted to just follow up. But thank you.
Thanks, Shane. I saw Ash come in. You want to address the council, Ash?
We're just here to see if there's anything,
Okay.
if we're going to discuss anything regarding the flood situation.
Tom, you want to address council?
Yeah, basically, I was just here more listening first.
Okay.
Maybe kind of reserve the right to listen.
I know you came in the middle of that, I just didn't know, I didn't want you to miss something. Okay, so we will proceed with the regular order of business. I need a motion to approve the August 9th, 2021 regular meeting minutes as submitted.
I shall move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Need a motion to approve the September 2021 bill list.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the September 17th, 24th, October 1st, and 8th, 2021 payrolls.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to ratify the adoption resolution number 2021-20. This is a resolution of the Borough of Bridgeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, assuming responsibility for erecting, maintaining, and removing a temporary event banner over Route 50 for the Evelsizer Family 5K race that is to be installed August 16th, 2021, and removed September 18th, 2021.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. That banner's up.
Yeah.
I need a motion to authorize the advertisement and public display of ordinance number 1023, an ordinance of the Borough of Bridgeville amending its code of ordinances, Chapter 15, Motor Vehicle and Traffic, Part 4, General Parking Regulations 15-402, parking prohibited at all times in certain locations, to prohibit parking at all times and to establish a loading zone in a designated location on Station Street at or about the Station Street Taylor Way intersection.
I shall move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's right in front of Sam. I need a motion to authorize the execution of police mutual aid agreement with all communities and police departments located within the Char West College service area, including Pittsburgh Technical College. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to accept the 2022 minimum municipal obligation MMO for the police pension plan in the amount of $40,566 as prepared by the borough manager.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Need a motion to accept the 2022 minimum municipal obligation for the non-uniform pension plan in the amount of $74,065 as prepared by the borough manager.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to authorize the disbursement of $59,387.85 from the capital project fund to Brensel Excavation LLC for partial payment number 2 of the Janeway Stream Bank Stabilization Project.
I shall move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to authorize the disbursement of $9,817.38 from the capital project fund to Ski Ready Site Development and Paving Company for the partial payment number 6 and final of the McLaughlin Run Park Improvements Project. So
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You got a question?
Is that whole project then done? That's the final, and you just now need to submit the grant paperwork to close it?
Correct, the project's been completed. The last thing, as we talked about the last meeting, was landscaping, and that was done at the end of August. So that's the final bill, closes out everything, and the grant contract expires at the end of this month. The state DCNR was at the park today, inspected it. They've had no issues, everything passed, so we're on track to be reimbursed by the end of the month.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to authorize the disbursement of $40,860 from the sewer fund for Cirrus Enterprise for partial payment number 1 for the backwater valve phase 4 project. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to accept the resignation of Mrs. Laura Decolo from the Bridgeville Parking Authority.
I so move with regret.
Second.
We need a letter to send to her for all the service given to borough. Appreciate that letter. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Need a motion to accept and pay any commission due August 2021 real estate tax collector report.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to acknowledge receipt of the July 2021 treasurer's report.
I'll move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to accept the August 2021 police report. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Committee reports. Administration, Virginia Schneider.
Thanks, Bill. I'd like to, something that's noteworthy is about the active transportation plan is advancing in the community. On October 19th, which is a Tuesday from 6 to 7:30 at the fire department, Chartiers room. But in advance of that meeting, we're planning on having an interactive map or some type of a special page on our website where the citizens can start submitting their concerns and ideas to improve the connectivity, the pedestrian facilities, and mobility within the borough. And this comes at a most opportune time because the Planning Commission is working on a new comprehensive plan for the future of Bridgeville Borough, so I encourage folks to keep an eye out for that. We'll have time to remind you again in October.
I think plans actually call for a lot of publicity about those meetings right now.
Well, we have the website, hopefully we'll see something on the board outside, newsletter, if possible, but we really encourage your comments and support. That's all I have.
Thank you. Finance, Joe Verducci.
As far as the finance, a very small report. Budget is going as planned. We are in the stages of doing preparing the budget for 2022. For council, there will be an advanced draft of it to review prior to the October meeting. The Workers' Compensation Safety Committee has been certified by the State Department of Labor and Industry, and because of that great work that they're doing, we received a 5% discount on the renewed firefighters insurance policy. So thank you very much for that committee getting together and helping us with that. That's all I have.
Great, thanks, Joe. Parks and Recreation, Joe Colosimo.
Yeah, short and sweet. Like I said earlier, work down in Chartiers Park on the stream bank stabilization and the grading for the new playground equipment. It's going to start in the middle of October. Therefore, we're not going to be renting out Chartiers number 1 pavilion. It's going to after the middle part of October. We had a little issue, I guess, down with Locker Run Park. Somebody put graffiti on the restrooms, which we just painted not too long ago. So a little seed for the budget committee over there. We could use maybe a camera or two down there next year. And also glad to report the recent flooding. None of the parks are damaged. That's all I have.
Thanks, Joe. Public Works,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With this beautiful night, honor the mayor here, I certainly don't want to go with this long list, but it's too bad that I have to touch the flood situation. I brought our public work office to clean all the debris area before the area was flooded, and many, the volunteers, the firemen, the police department, we all pitching the best way we could, and that's bad, but it works. And what we did so far, it shows us that it works. Of course, it's much more to do, much more to do. We won't give up. We have an emergency on Pennsylvania Avenue, sewer broke. Immediately, Joe and I got on right away. We call it Jack. He got on the job immediately, and the next day was restored the yard, and everything gets worked out okay. I believe the cost at this point was $25,000, right?
We haven't got a bill.
We haven't got a bill, but
It should be a
we
process.
estimate.
Yes.
Well, other than that, congratulations, Mayor. It's all right.
Public safety, Bruce Geller. I don't have any reports, sir. Thank you. Mayor, Betty Copeland.
Saturday, Chief King and I attended the 9/11 observance at Corpus Christi Parish. Senator Robinson was the guest speaker. Our Bridgeville Volunteer Fire Department President, Jim Altvader, was the speaker also. Everyone spoke about their memories of 9/11 and prayers for the future for our country. Councilman Colosimo and Councilman Petroselli were also in attendance.
Thank you. Police Chief Jack King. No report, Council President. Thanks, Chief. Solicitor Tom Carroll.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add to my written report.
Borough Engineer Kevin Brett.
We did submit a report dated September 9th. We don't have anything to add. I can entertain any questions.
Questions for the engineer?
I did have a question. I know I spoke with a small consortium of citizens about the Janeway, and I know there was the MS4 water oil separator. Was there any possible way for, I know we spoke with one of your engineers, John, I believe his name was, about moving that laterally in that area, or is it solid where it has to be?
It's at the junction of, it's a sub area. They're grid separators, basically what they already gather trash of. So wherever the junction of the existing system is, that's where they're placed. There's a number of them that we've put in so far. I think this contract was 2 of them. This one, 3 of them. It's one of the ways to cost effectively address your MS4 permit and your pollution reduction plan. So those spots are picked because they're currently already junctions within the system. So that's the sweet spot, so to speak. So shifting it is more costly, which makes the project more costly.
No, I'm not very knowledgeable of what that does, but could that damper or increase our flooding situations at any time? Does it help at all, or is it make it worse if it doesn't work properly?
There's something that's to be maintained. Basically, it's a recycling pipe. If the debris falls, the sediment falls in the basement, and then they need sucked out. Because one of the issues that's within a permit for this area is sediment reduction. So that drops out the sediment and the water from the part of the system, and then it gets discharged clean. And so many pounds of sediment comes out in the water. And it's a way to do multiple structures in one spot. If you do like individual catch basins, I think a couple of years ago, discussed this with council. Yeah, if you just clean out a catch basin, you have to actually weigh the amount of sediment and prove that you removed that much. With this type of structure, you don't need to do that. As long as you maintain the work, it does not decrease the amount of capacity within the system. If anything, it should help it because the pipes end up building up with sediment. When the pipes flush out after a period of time, stream, and doesn't clog that manhole in the stream where it's at. So it should help in the end and actually increase capacity.
Kevin, how often do they clean those out, and who is responsible for cleaning?
Public Works is responsible to clean them out, and after they're put in, after each big grant event, we want to check them and see how much you actually get out of it, and then with Public Works, and then come up with what the schedule is. Some after the first few flushes, they don't need cleaned very often at all. After winter, they always need cleaned in the springtime, because you just build up with that road run from the winter, from salt and stuff like that. So, but we will have to put it on a maintenance schedule, and they get sucked out of the back.
Thank you.
As far as that sediment, if we have a big, large rain, could additional sediment come in there and that's how it would clog, or is that not possible?
They're sized so that that does not happen. If you had a large flood event where you washed a significant amount of dirt into a catch basin, then it may gather in there and that'll be pumped out sooner than later, but it will bypass and continue to discharge.
So when it's full, it should just continue to bypass?
Yeah, it'll act like it
So
does
that
that.
won't dam up, because they do, those sewers down there, they fill up pretty quickly, and they overflow first and foremost. I know there's residents here currently, but their businesses, they get pretty hard just from those sewers backing up.
Yeah, it doesn't dampen the discharge itself, it doesn't slow it down, is what it is. So, they're designed in order to still maintain the same capacity.
Actually, you hand up?
Yeah, so, doing my own research on, when we heard that they were gonna be putting that in, I was told differently that, when we do have a flood situation like that and all that sediment does come back, they said it is gonna clog and it is gonna add to the problem. This is what I was told, again, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know. And secondly, that with the pressure that builds, because in that corridor, when the creek level rises and all that water comes back into the system, they said the pressure it's not a question of, if, it's when, but it can rip that whole system out. It can just become dislodged because it's not designed to take that kind of pressure. So this is what I've heard doing my own research, but I'd like to, hear your take on it.
Yeah, I would just forward me whoever told you that.
Your engineer confirmed that
when I was on site.
Your engineer?
Your engineer said that as
Your
well.
engineer confirmed that as well, that it could push up out of the ground.
I will confirm whatever you were told. So,
My turn, please. So there were 3 sites in the community that were chosen. Were there any alternative sites? Were there any option sites? And are any other ones going to require somebody's business to be closed every time it's installed, or maintenance, or God forbid it pushes up out of the ground?
The Borough system itself, this is one of the ways to address the sediment loading. So it's one of the techniques that you can use. So there will be other ones proposed throughout the borough because the borough has limited space. It's an urban setting. So storm scepters are used often in this type of setting, business districts. As far as the maintenance, it's no different than the current maintenance that has to be done on the system. If the borough has to come in and maintain a catch basin, then the right of way, we pull in, set up traffic control, and do the maintenance that's necessary on any street in the borough. So it's no different than any other area.
Well, traffic control is different than literally shutting my business down while that operation is taking place.
And I don't believe you answered my question. How were the sites chosen, and were there alternative sites for these 3?
These 3 were the first set that we looked at, and they were chosen with the original pollution reduction.
Okay, the other thing is, some research that I did was that they are supposed to be placed between the last point of potential oil, these are called oil water separators. I understand they do a little bit more than that, it sounds like. But they're supposed to be between the last point of entry and the exit into the body of water, being obviously the creek.
Yeah, these are storm scepters, they're called, not oil grease separators. It's been referred to a number of times this evening. They're set up specifically for storm systems, and they're sized for the drainage area, amount of flow that comes to it. So again, whoever you're talking to, if you can please get me their information, and I will call them and find out exactly what they're talking about, because when these systems are designed, we work with the manufacturer. They have to submit their shop drawings, they have to prove that it can pass the flow that comes to the system. This system only collects so much surface water, and it only can put through so much through the size of the pipes. These aren't 48-inch pipes that's going through there. You talked about the back pressure. The storm systems throughout the borough have to have ductbills, we call them, put on so that they can only release flow out and not in from the streams. One of the problems that's been discussed numerous times at various meetings is that you get flow in from the stream. So over time, and as projects are completed, that's going to be eliminated. That if the full project is constructed, as we presented the Planning Commission, there'll be pumps that would pump water from the low areas up over walls within the borough, and all these issues that we just described won't exist in the borough, in these low areas, including Jane Way. It'll take a lot of years to do that. Phase 1's the bottom section of town. But these are systems that's been used throughout the United States that have levee walls, and then you pump up over the levee walls from the localized area with screw pumps, and you have to make it so the storm system only discharges and water doesn't back up in, because today you do have that. The majority of the system in the borough, they're open. I was down at your property today. There's 4 storm sewers in that area. They discharge, one's from Janeway, there's county system, they all back up. Your property is 15 foot below the wall on the opposite side probably. Hydraulic wise, that's the direction the water's going to go. It takes the least path of resistance. We do want to put a structure on that so that it doesn't come in from the stream. The water only can go out when the pressure is appropriate at that point. So.
That job isn't finished. That scope of work isn't complete. There was a backflow preventer on site. It was sized wrong.
Correct. It's on back order. When it comes in, they will finish that one.
And what about the pipe actually below the creek bed?
That's the grade the pipe was built at originally. Part of the project, whenever the entire project gets built, numerous areas need to be dredged. We can go to multiple outfalls throughout the entire stream valley that had the similar situation.
That pipe was not that low before. It never used to shoulder. It never used to clog completely.
There's two sandbars now that have developed there. There's one upstream. It's roughly 3 foot high right now. It wasn't there 4 or 5 months ago. The borough has spent already this year a tremendous amount of money removing gravel bars. And if we get down to the bottom of town, Public Works removed a large one where it goes into Chartiers floodway, and there's one that's formed there again from the last 2 large storm events. And that'll be an ongoing battle where if we keep up with it and the debris gets removed, the one in front of that pipe will have room to go. But if you look just downstream, the gravel bar that was removed from inside, I believe it was the left pipe upstream, there's a small one forming already, which is forcing the water to slow down, and the gravel bar then formed at Janeway and then upstream as well. The one upstream was not there before, it's there now. Basically where the water exited the stream channel and went overland, right there's a gravel bar that formed there as well. So the borough will maintain those over time. Some of them need permits currently if we want to maintain, because you have to get a permit every time you go in. You can only take the debris down so far. You're not allowed to do dredging. Permits don't permit it under the current state law.
The original design, I believe, was to have that exit pipe running with the flow of the stream, which got changed somewhere between Gateway and your firm taking over. It would have been less maintenance. You proved that before, that a pipe running with the stream won't clog completely. And the catch basin was at least 2 feet higher in elevation, so it did have fall for the pipe before. even though the pipe wasn't great. It had minimal fall, but it was starting at a higher point. And for this separator now, you're needing 2 significant grates open to put, as you said, just what this thing's supposed to eliminate or help eliminate. There's 2 more grates between where you're going to place it and the creek. So there's 2 more significant points of clogging after this thing. So that's why I'm asking, is there some alternative? Because again, we were told the regulation was it has to be the last thing to do its job.
Yeah, again, I would have whoever told you that, have them give me the information. So whoever it is, I don't like to go back and forth. It's somebody we don't know told you. Tell me who. I will immediately call them to work. I will find out what their area of expertise is.
I just keep hearing you keep laying on to this public works more and more maintenance and maintenance and maintenance. The idea was the gate was going to be put on so that we could get into the creek, so we could clean debris. Well, it's, it'll be 3 weeks from the first flood that shouldered that in, where, not the one just a little bit ago where everything went underwater, the one where just you went underwater. And the gate was taken off to let water out. That pipe's still closed, which is great because no water can come back through it. It's basically a septic system. It's a leach bed now for the water coming out of 4 or 5 basins.
Yeah, if the borough wants to remove that sandbar, we'll have to do a permit so they can maintain that sandbar before now. As far as the original design, it did not work. So we're clear. The borough would have had a 4.5-foot drop off to go into the stream. It did not work. We reviewed that design with council, and this design was the one that was approved so that they could actually get into the stream. The idea was for it to work, not
work to find work. Work for
be able to drive
stream.
into it so the borough could drive into the stream.
Work for getting in the street.
Yes,
Not work for
if
taking
they
water
could
from
remove the
outlet.
debris was the idea, and driving in and going off a 4-foot cliff was not going to work.
See, that's where the
But the
difference of
water's still
opinion
coming
begins is the
into the-
definition of work.
It's not preventing the water from coming into the alley though. Isn't that
It's
the
not
main
meant to-
objective?
No, that was not
To
the
prevent
objective.
flooding?
The objective for that was access for the borough after the flood,
They want to put backflow preventer in the scope of work.
so that the water didn't back up into the pipes and surcharge out of the inlets. So that's just prudent for the borough to do that when they can. It's a prudent design. I understand you disagree, but we did it for a reason, and it's so that water does not back up in the stream, because that was a noted complaint.
Well, I find it hard to believe that this thing can't be moved 5 feet in either direction to alleviate a huge burden for a business that contributes to the community.
I don't believe it's any different maintenance than we currently have.
I'd like to see
I
what
would
the
like
walking
to, on
ordinance-
record, ask for a review to see if
A second opinion.
a second opinion of whether this could be moved. I don't know if anybody understands, but this separator is going to go exactly in the center of the end of our driveway, where customers exit, exactly in the center. It could go this way or it could go that way, but instead it was designed to go right there.
I mean, we can disagree all we want, but the bottom line is, you have a mayor here who's broken through some glass ceilings and is holding a position, and I have a wife who's in a traditionally male-dominated industry as well, and you're basically trying to shut her down for maintenance, which you said could be often, especially with the amount of debris we get. We're not talking about sedimentary debris. We're talking about inches of mud in a matter of hours.
Has anybody come down and seen us use shovels, snow shovels, to push this much mud? You imagine what, because all that much mud is in the storm sewers.
And the backing up
We're
point now is
pushing this
just
much
gonna
on the
be
driveway.
pushed back to these guys even more. Which brings it through their walls. We did one thing a few years ago with the backflow preventers, and some things worked. The trash racks, monumental improvement. If the trash racks weren't in there as a compliment last week, or what is it now, 2 weeks ago, it would have been way worse. There wasn't very much debris at all that went under Bower Hill, and that thing was filled to the top with water.
So I acknowledge all the things that work, but who's taken away, this industry, this business is a momentum thing. If people decide that they're gonna go to Joe's Sisters one time, they may just keep going there forever. I don't think it's a big ask.
I'm just asking for another, the first we learned of it, the man showed up from the contract company with plans saying, hey, I'm gonna be here this day. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
We're gonna need to shut you down for a day.
All I'm asking for is a more extensive review before someone just shows up and starts digging a hole.
And forgive us for being skeptical, but the last time we were told the gate was gonna go in a week, and that was 3 weeks, and it's still not finished. Per the scope of work with no black backflow preventer on it. So we've let your contractors stage on our property, use our property, post flood, anything. I just don't see it's a big ask for a little bit of cooperation in return. Because if they move the thing, when Jet Jack needs to come down and clean it, or the borough workers need to come down and clean it, they're welcome to sit on our property and clean it all day long for all that it matters. There is one neighbor who would be just inconvenienced, Robert. I told him he can park in our parking lot if he wants. He can park his car in the building if he wants. Because it's like one car being an inconvenience, we wouldn't be asking you about that. But some of you know the flow.
Is the water went higher than the gate, than the wall altogether on Janeway?
The water was so high in the parking lot, it was going over the gate, back into the creek.
Yeah, the creek actually didn't breach at Bower Hill because she called me panicked. She thought it was actually coming out of the creek. It was the water that was coming from the other breached areas, which, by the way, thank you for everyone and anyone who got the concrete put up there to help those breached areas. But that water was coming down as Chief King, I mean, we were talking quite a bit that evening. We each had our own water problems going on, but I let him know when the cell was coming because it was obvious in watching this that cell was going to be the one that breached. It didn't breach the water. Actually, when Jen called me and said, oh my God, it's coming over the wall of the gate, I went out and looked, and actually Mike Palmer was with me. The water was actually going the other direction. It was going from our parking lot back into the creek. It was all the water that was coming down all of it.
Can that gate be in two different pieces to be removed? When we have to clean, it could be separate pieces?
Yeah, it's in 8 pieces. It's long so that the public works can easily remove it.
You know, we're not talking about the wall and the gate right now. Yeah. We're talking about this new separator thing that's set to be put literally in the middle of the exit of the beer warehouse.
I mean, an idea is to just schedule the maintenance for off hours. That's what the other communities do. Do it early mornings or
I know we tried to use another entrance. We could never get permission from the government to get into further down. Like Janeway is one of the worst places that ever attacked anywhere.
It's not just the location that I'm concerned about. It's this thing actually going to work.
Again,
And I'd like, could someone show us how in the world this thing is not going to cause more flooding?
I mean, Nick, you were there, Joe, you were there. There's already one manhole to the right that's in the middle of the street that could serve the same purpose. It's at the exact same junction. It actually is the junction of the drains that you're talking about, and it would be out of the way for maintenance and for installation. And if it pops out of the ground, not to be rude, but it's out of the ground, isolated, and the only thing it's interfering with is itself.
Where's that? Where's that?
It's right, I can walk you back and show you. It's right behind the exit of the distributor. We only have
Well, I know where yours is. I know the one that we're talking about. Where's the one you're referring to?
In between, so.
Yeah, between the exit and the corner, it's
at that intersection, so if you come out of this beer river, make the right, it's like almost right in the middle of that intersection.
There's a round manhole that is sort of, that is the junction, that's the junction drain where they all come together. And actually, the young man who was there that day and the contractor both seem to feel that it's already pre-built, that working with its elevations, either skewing it a little to the right, skewing it a little bit to the left, could be made up with some with the paving elevation, the final elevation.
We also showed them where the flow of water comes on a normal rain or a normal snowfall, and how all the water comes down Baldwin Street in filters, comes down and then makes the bend at the back of the beer warehouse and then goes down there.
Non-flooding.
Non-flooding, but it's still, that's the first point, that's where it enters first. It's coming, I mean, you can see the flow coming down the sidewalks, next to the sidewalks. That's where it's all coming down first. If you want to catch it, that's where you want to catch it, not further down.
I mean, selfishly, we don't want to have to close. We don't want to have to be nitpicking with the maintenance guys all the time. We like to work with them, not against them. Secondarily, though, the questions about moving this, the concerns that Ash has is about its impact for the rail yard's basement, Robert's basement. I don't know if Oregon has a basement. Some of the folks I they do. You know, that's the ramifications of the water table being pushed further towards Baldwin. So, in all fairness, we're asking something specific, but I also am cognizant and sympathetic to the other problem too, because it's not going to be good for anyone.
Right.
Yeah. You see any opportunity here?
I can take a look at it tomorrow. I would like the information tonight on who you talked to, from what company.
I'll get it to you tomorrow.
Specific names, phone number, because I want to call and ask them what they're talking about. Yeah, quite honestly, because we have many of these in. We'll look at the location. I'll look at it myself again. And if they can be shifted, we will. If they can't, we'll have to do maintenance off hours so we don't impact the business.
When's that scheduled? Did they tell you when that's scheduled?
They want to start it today.
They were
I mean, the contractor was really cool.
They've been one-day projects. They did Chest Street today, so it may be tomorrow or the day after.
They probably want to look at it.
So you may want to do this very quick.
Yeah, I'll do it after the meeting tonight.
All right. Any other comments? Gentlemen, thank you. Thanks, Kevin. Fire Chief, Ray Castaigne.
Okay, so the month of August, we had 39 calls also. It's a flood incident going on there, like everybody knows about. We asked the public, if possible, try not to dial 911. We're trying to do some new things to free up the 911 service. Is to call our fire department. We usually have some members down there. If your basement's flooded, whatever's flooded, we necessarily can't start doing any kind of pumping out until the water pressure exceeding goes down, because the water will just come back in as fast as we're pumping it out. So if you give our fire department a call, they'll write the information down, and we'll get the whoever's in charge information, and we'll be calling different companies and ourselves, and we help pump the basements out. Also, big thank to all the fire departments that helped us, that we called in and helped us out. That's about it.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks again to you and Chief for your response and that one first. Appreciate what you guys do. I don't see Dan Miller here. Anyone from EMS? I'm sorry.
I would be remiss not to make this comment. Chief King sets the bar pretty high, so he probably doesn't get as much love as he should in these instances. But you, young man, were a rock star 2 weeks ago on Wednesday, coordinating multiple departments, multiple peers of his own, and I was truly impressed.
Yes, thank you.
Truly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, you were dancing around quite the two-step, and better than I've ever seen before. So thank you. It was impressive to watch. It's something we were watching it, but something impressive came out of that.
Okay, Bridgeville Historical Society. Mary, do you have anything for Mary? Library representative.
First, I want to congratulate the mayor on course, everybody loves the library, right? We have our monthly newsletter went out. In addition to service, we're trying to get back to normal as far as that goes. In addition to that, we also solicit for donations. I understand it's trying times with everyone with the flood and COVID. But the reason why we sent out in September is we get a matching percentage from the Jack Butler Foundation on monies received for all libraries for the month of September. So that's the reason why we have it. You also see the signs that were throughout the library, for the library around Bridgeville. Love your library. We also have a couple events coming up into the September 24th and 25th. The 24th, we're having a patio party that we started a brick donation drive before the COVID. This is going on 2 years now, so we ended up with 16 bricks that have now been installed on the back patio. We're going to have those people that we have the bricks come on. We're going to have a little party there. We've got some music set up and a little just for adults for that evening on the 24th. And I guess some flyers to Joe to pass out. The 25th, we're having a lawn party for the kids for the weekend, just games. We did that 2 years ago, once again before COVID. It was a good turnout, so everyone had a good time with that. In addition to that, that weekend we're going to be selling used books. How many books we have? Well, we filled up a complete shed that we got from the construction class of high school entirely with used books. So that entire weekend will be used book sale with that. So
Need another shed.
maybe we have to get another shed. Yeah, I was talking to the construction class up at the high school. But other than that, that's all I have.
Ray, you have one more thing, and you better mention it, because I've been doing a lot of delivering of.
Oh, the flocking, yes, yes. So is that you? Yes, if you notice any flocking, flamingos. Well, migrating to the Bridgeville Library through the month of September. So you request a flocking on the website, anyone you choose. We have a small flock and a big flock. Comes out at the night by the library staff. I once again apologize for that. Don't tell I forgot to mention that. And that's going to go through. That's going to go. So the flamingo will be migrating to Bridgeville Library through the end of the month, through September. So anyway, one request that's also on the website. Oh, good.
Send it all our neighbors.
That's all I got.
Yeah, Robinson enjoyed it too.
And my dog.
Your guard dog.
My grass cutter wasn't too thrilled.
Parking Authority, I see Mike out there. You have anything for us, Mike? Any questions for Mike, Parking Authority?
Thanks for giving Laura a shout out.
Yes.
Give us a lot of years.
Yes, you did.
Mike, I can say this. I talked to Arturo, to Joe, okay? When you do paving, and you remember I talked to you about, I think you should coordinate with Joe, see when we do our paving, when you pave your parking lot, and see if we can put them together due to the engineering and the manager. We could do it with the same contractor. Of course, you're gonna pay your bill, we're gonna pay ours. But I think if we give the contractor more work, it could be better. And Joe thought it was a good idea to mention to you sooner or later, because we do road work every year. So this is something that you have to do it this time. But when you have paving to do in your parking lot, find out when we do our road program in between our engineer and Joe, we can coordinate to get it done at the same time. I think it's a good idea. So Joe's not gonna forget it, you're not gonna forget it, I'll forget probably at my age, who knows? But keep that in mind. It could be saving it done over. Thank you.
Mike, thanks for being here. And on behalf of the council, our condolences to you. Saddened by that. Planning Commission.
Well, what we did on the 23rd of August was we changed the start time from 7:30 until 7 o'clock. We took it back to 7 o'clock, so we give an earlier start. Secondly, we discussed a little bit about the comprehensive plan and our next steps. Lastly, we looked at, well, actually it was advertised for a new planning commissioner since Larry Lennon has resigned his position. And that's about it.
Thank you. I think we had 2 applicants, is that correct?
Correct.
So we'll work within this next month to get it back to them. Let's see here. Borough Manager, Joe Powell.
3 things. First thing is the FEMA flood grant, the hazard mitigation grant on Baldwin Street to demolish floodfront properties. Since our last meeting, letters, option agreements were sent out to those properties with offers to purchase. Of that, 6 residential properties have signed and are in. 1 property has formally withdrawn, and 1 property is challenging the appraisal. The Italian Club is going through its appraisal right now, historical review, which have determination on its eligibility probably within the next 2 months. But we're on track that the project should be advancing to closings within 3 months and hopefully have demolitions underway with site acquisition by the end of this year, early next year. So things are progressing very smoothly. The grant contract has been signed on our part. We're waiting for FEMA to send back the Commonwealth's version. Once that's done, the first drawdown for almost $1 million is ready to go so that we have the money in hand to do acquisitions and take care of the legal work.
Joe, the one that declined, was there any way of swapping that with another property if
No.
they've approached us? No.
I've asked.
Yeah,
It is specific to the properties that were in the original application back in 2019. So that's progressing very smoothly. The second thing is kind of in line with that larger flood project on Baldwin Street, is at last month's council meeting, you directed us to proceed with the Planning Commission's recommendation to find grant money for phase 1 of the flood control project. This part of the larger infrastructure bill that's going on right now with the federal government. There's a grant program out now called the BRIC, Building Resistant Communities. A letter of interest has been prepared and will be submitted later this week to start the application process. We've been in talks with FEMA so they understand our project. Phase 1A is what I'm making application for off of your recommendation, and that is what, as Kevin alluded to, the levees on Carroll Avenue, the pumps, and it also replaces the commercial street culverts with a bridge. That project is $5.6 million. The grant funds 75%. Subsequent to this conversation, we've had conversations with the Chief of Staff of Senator Robinson's office for the Commonwealth's budget for next year, looking for projects. We said, hey, we're making application for FEMA for phase 1A. Please consider this as also maybe we can have that support to help us come up with the remaining 25% match. So we're on track to have that application submitted for phase 1 by the end of this year. So we're moving. The third thing I have is we were awarded a $41,000 grant this past month for more blight removal. So this is the second grant that we got within the past 3 months to do demolition work to kind of like close up some code enforcement loose ends and get rid of some of the blight that was starting to fester. We identified condemned properties when those applications were done. A solicitor's been working on some of those properties are being pulled because it's been time and the time kind of heals all wounds, and some of these properties are now getting in the hands of people that are eligible, not eligible, responsible enough to rehab it. It isn't like me wanting to rehab a home. This is someone who has the means and the ways and the abilities. So some of these properties are changing. So the delay has actually been good so that we can solidify which ones can be salvaged, which ones can go. And I'm working one grant versus the other grant to make up for the match on the one grant so that it doesn't come out of our capital funds. So within the next month, we'll solidify which properties have legal clearance so that we can get a project ready for bid. So hopefully, subsequent to the demolition work that you're missing on Baldwin Street, this is the blight that you're seeing around town can be taken care of. So it's kind of a good thing that we got the 2 grants together because it comes out to be $115,520. So it's pretty good news. So those are the 3 things I had. And my report's pretty detailed. If there's any questions, by all means, please pick up the phone and answer.
Thank you, Joe. If I might, I trust that we care about you folks that are going through down here, and we are working. We have some momentum, and it takes more than we have, to be quite frank with you. And the Senator has been gracious enough to show up at these events. He knows what we're going through. I trust that he, as a resident of this community, is doing everything he can. But, I can tell you, when it rains, we're afraid too. You see our faces down when it rains. Nothing that any of us want to go through. So we will continue to do all that we can, and with compassion for what you guys do.
Thank you.
Under new business, do we have anything? New business. If I might also just express our condolences to Yellow-Gucci and Mono family, the loss of your loved one. With that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn. I'll make a motion. It's not on there. We changed everything on new business. You have some old business, John?
I just want to remind everybody that there's less than 6 weeks until the chili cook-off. We need a few more days to cook-off.
So eating more chili now.
More chili. We need some cookers, so please, if you want to cook some chili, come talk to me or go to the Bridgeville South Van Rotary.
Make a motion.